On today's show, we have the brand new Pioneer
2017 AVIC 8201 NEX.
So stay tuned. Alright, so we've got it. It's in. What's the question everyone asks?
What is the difference between the radios?
That's right. So, if you've got an 8200 or you're thinking about an 8200, you just saw the 8201 has come out and you're going, I wonder what the difference is. What are the cool new features that it has? Etc., etc. Well, we're going to show you that right off the bat. We're going to jump right to it. And it is this guy right here. These come with the Endy BC8 backup camera. It is a cube style camera, about an inch square. It comes with a wiring harness for it. And that, my friends, is the difference. There's nothing else that's different between an 8200 and an 8201. And actually, when you open it up on the radio, it just says 8200.
That's
They didn't even put the 1 on it. So that's it. So if you're curious, those are the differences. If you're familiar with the radios, you could stop watching it now. We're done. Thank you for watching. If you're not familiar with the 8200, no problem. We're going to go ahead and put our last year's review where we talked and told you all the features in right now. So sit back and enjoy. And if you're tuning off, thank you for watching as usual. Okay, so today we have the Flagship Pioneer 8200. Their top of the line unit, all the bells and whistles. This has got it. Let's open it up. Let's talk about it. So first thing first, this one has GPS, so it comes with a GPS antenna. Comes with a new Bluetooth microphone in the blue bag.
Okay.
I know. It comes with an auxiliary extension. A lot of you guys ask the question, how do I plug in the auxiliary? It comes with an extension. It's 4 feet long. Comes with one USB extension, same length.
Oh,
Buy a second.
Just one?
Yeah, no. Buy a second one. Comes with the power plug. Comes with a bag of screws.
Ooh.
And a remote control. Yes. Sexy.
Okay.
Comes with the warranty card, the quick start manual, and the installation guide, as well as the owner's manual, which is on the CD. You can also go to their website and download it in a PDF form to store it on your phone. It's very convenient. Some of you that have asked us questions, and you're like, and I say, hey, look on page 28. It's because it's on my phone. Come on. Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and start with the back of the radio and answer all those, what are these holes? Okay, so we have the GPS antenna, gets plugged in right here. Down here you have the rear audio output, which is partnered with the rear video output. Both of these are great if you're going to do some form of rear seat entertainment. This unit has dual zone, so that means you can watch something up front and something out of this, or listen to the radio up front and watch the DVD on the rear seat. Either way, you don't have to listen to what they're listening to in the back, thanks to these two outputs. Next, you have USB 1 and USB 2. USB 1 is for Apple CarPlay. USB 2 is for Android Auto. You have the HDMI input. HDMI input is great if you want to do any form of screen sharing. I will tell you right now, before you ask, if you plug something into this and you're playing Netflix on your screen, it will not come out of your video output. HDMI does not code out to an analog output, so sorry. You have brown, which is your rear camera input. Then you have the white and red. White and red is your subwoofer input. This yellow guy down here is a Pioneer plug. Really no use for us. This little guy right here is for your iDataLink Maestro. These are iDataLink compliant this year, so if you have a car that requires or can use one, go for it. You have your Sirius Xm port. The Sirius Xm is the SXV 300 add-on tuner. You have your Bluetooth microphone input. You have your main power plug input. You have your steering wheel control wireless remote, wired remote input. This will allow you to retain your factory steering wheel controls. Then you have your auxiliary input adapter. You have your antenna. Now, These guys, this is your mute wire. This is great if you have a Chevy and you want to retain your OnStar. You have the white RCA, which is your front input. Your green RCA, which is your rear output. I'm sorry, these are outputs, my bad. This is the input. This is gray. This is your audio input, which can be paired up with yellow, which is your video input. Now, this video input can also be selected as a front camera output or input. So you can have a front and rear camera with this radio. Okay, so once you've powered the radio up, the first thing it's going to ask you is what language do you speak? So go ahead and pick one and click Next. Next is going to be your smartphone setup. Now, this isn't as important as it once was. Obviously, you want to pick what phone you're using if you're going to do Bluetooth or whatnot. But the nice thing about the units this year is that it will auto-detect, and we'll show you later, between iPhone and Android. So you really don't even need to mess with this if you don't want to. Now it comes to the most dreaded screen in the world, which is the OK screen. This year's units, after 7 seconds, will automatically go away. It's like magic, so you don't even have to worry about it. This is your main home screen. From here, you can do a couple things, like go to your navigation, launch apps, which is basically going to be Android Auto or Apple CarPlay if plugged in, or go to the Bluetooth phone, or select an AV. Now there's two ways to select AV. You can click AV, or if you're on a source, you can hit the drop-down menu. It'll go ahead and give you a list of all your sources you currently have available to you. Now you'll notice between the two, you have some grayed out sources here. That just means they're not active right now. Like you have no CD in, so it's not going to give you that as a source. Once you put that in, it'll go ahead and make it color like the rest of these. Let's talk about the sources while we're on this page. First off, you have HD radio. HD radio is a really great feature if you're into AM/FM. It allows you to do a couple things. For one, it makes FM sound a lot better. And two, it'll give you what's called simulcast. If you'll notice over here, it says HD and analog. This switches to digital, and this will say HD1. Now, if you hit track up, it'll go ahead and say HD2. Now, this is a totally new station that you didn't have previous. The nice thing about them is you can also make them presets just by press and hold. Now, when you switch to it, it'll go ahead and come up and say linking. That's the time it takes to switch from analog to digital. And it'll go ahead and start playing that HD2 channel. Now, in some places you get a lot of nice stations, and other places you don't. If you go to myhd.com, you can check that out. Let's go back to this one here. Obviously, you have CD, DVD. This is a CD or DVD player. If you hit this button here, this is a motorized screen. So to go ahead and open up, here's your CD, DVD, as well as your SD card. This will take an SD card. Hit eject. And go ahead and close. Now, another nice thing about the face while we're talking about moving is you can actually angle the face. This is great if you have like sunlight beaming in on it and you can't see. It allows you to adjust it. Or if it just sits weird in the dash kit and you want to angle it. So you get pretty good adjustment there. You can go ahead and click it back. And we'll X out of that. You have USB 1 and you have USB 2. Now, as we said, USB 1 is for Apple CarPlay and USB 2 is for Android Auto. You have the ability to do Pandora control directly from the unit, although you can do that as well in CarPlay or Android Auto. You have Bluetooth audio. You have the HDMI input. Sirius Xm, as we mentioned. SD card. Auxilary. Your AV inputs. Your rear seat here. We'll click rear seat real quick. Now, like I said, this unit has dual zone. So this allows you to pick any one of the sources that you have that are playing video and play them out the unit. If you notice, HDMI isn't there, and it never will be because it can't do it. But if you pick the DVD, then you can have the DVD feed the rear seat, and you listen to, let's say, AM or your iPod or your Android phone, whatever. Next, you have Car Source and Car Feature. These are for the iData Link system. So if you're not using that, they're not going to do anything. You have your camera view, which we'll come back to in a second. We have source off and power off. Source off allows you to just put the unit to semi-sleep. the amplifiers are still on or the radio is still active. The reason why it does that is so that you can still use the navigation and the Bluetooth. Now, new this year is power off. Power off will shut the unit off just like you're taking the key and turning the car off. The reason why this is helpful is if you have a power antenna and you need the power antenna to go down to go through like a car wash, it'll allow you to do that. Now, when it's in this mode, there is no Bluetooth and no navigation. To turn the radio back on, just hit any button. Now, as we mentioned, there's the rear view camera, and we also said that there was an ability to do a front-facing camera. So come over here to Settings, go down to Tools, come here to Camera Settings, go ahead and click that. So, you have backup camera input, you can go ahead and turn that on. You can scroll up to second camera input and turn that on. Then you also have parking line guideline adjust. This will allow you to set up those cool parking lines. And they're movable. Okay. The other thing you have is rear camera view. Now, some of you like to have either the front-facing camera or the rear-facing camera up while you're driving. This is where rear camera view comes into play. Go ahead and click that. Now, once it's on, 10 seconds after the last time I touch a button on the screen, it's going to go ahead and show me the camera. Now, once you're on this screen, you can toggle between camera 1 and camera 2 just by hitting these buttons here. Now, if you want to go back to the radio, you can hit this, which is the timed feature. This will allow you to go back in and make some adjustments. Okay. And then at 10 seconds after I stopped screwing with the radio, it'll go ahead and pull that camera view back up. When you're done, go ahead and click X, and it'll make it go away. Now, you can also access the camera view right here. We go ahead and pull it up. And there again, you can switch between camera 1 and camera 2. And this AV is still grayed out because it's set up as camera now, so it's fully controlled through the camera. Now, if we wanted it to be an AV input, we can come over here to Input-Output Settings. And right now, as you'll see, it's set up as a camera. We hit this, it's going to open a drop-down menu. We could have it as source, camera, or off. Go ahead and select off. Since we're talking about sources, let's talk about the one source that everyone loves. Do you know which one that is?
Radio.
Yeah, everyone loves FM. No, which source is it?
Bluetooth.
That's right. Everyone loves Bluetooth for calling, for listening to their favorite music, and this one has Bluetooth in it. So for Bluetooth calling, let's say you're listening to the radio, you'll notice over here you have a Bluetooth or a phone icon, and right over here this little blue dot is Bluetooth, so you know you're paired via Bluetooth. Go ahead and tap that. It's going to pull up your, right here, this is your contacts. You can come over here and you just do this. Okay. You can come over here and you can see your ingoing, outgoing, missed phone calls. You can come over here and you can dial old school. Or you can come down here and use your hands-free. This will allow you to do Sirius free and or whatever Google thing you have set up. Now, the really cool thing about the Bluetooth is that it uses what's called Wideband Speech recognition, which means it gives you a much crisper, cleaner, clearer conversation with your person, whoever you're talking to. They chalk it up as the difference between AM and FM. So AM would be the old, FM would be the new, and these things sound really nice now when you're making a phone conversation. Now, there's two different types of Bluetooth. Phone is what we just discussed. Now we also have music. So here's your Bluetooth music. So it'll go ahead and pull up your music. It will not give you album artwork, but it will give you your song and all that good stuff. Come over here, hit these lines. You can tap the device that you're listening to. You can go into playlists. And you can pick one of your playlists. Go here. And we can pick a song. We'll go ahead and start playing that. Alright, so we keep alluding to the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay.
Yes.
Let's talk about Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So, Apple CarPlay is done through USB 1. So you
Yes,
take your USB with your lightning cable attached to it, and you plug in your iPhone. And then magically, you'll get Apple CarPlay. So here's Apple CarPlay. In a nutshell, you get your phone, you get your music, your maps, and your messages. Those are the things that it has right out of the box. You can add things like other forms of music playback. So you have MLB, free books, iHeartRadio, RMPR, Spotify, Pandora, TuneIn Radio. So there's quite a few, and Apple's adding more and more as they redo their software. The one unique thing about this is none of these are going to do video. This is all for hands-free listening enjoyment. Phone will bring you over here to your phone. You could show contacts. You have the same icons you have on your phone are going to be here because this is designed by them. You can press and hold. It's going to launch Siri. You can ask her to call someone, text someone, play a song, do whatever you want.
I don't understand. Siri, you can ask you to call.
Yeah. You can ask her to find you a restaurant. Hit it again. It'll take you to your music. So here's where all your music is at. There again. You have your playlist. All the stuff you have on your phone is all right here. If you don't have any music on your phone and you're just primarily a Pandora person, just come over here, tap Pandora. It's going to go ahead and launch Pandora. So here's all your playlists on Pandora. Click that one. Just why not? You can come down here and click. It'll take you back. Come out of here. You have maps. You can have it display the map. You can ask it to take you any place you want. Like you saw Five Guys Burgers and Fries, you can ask her to do that. We'll do something different. Is there an Outback Steakhouse anywhere around me?
Searching. One option is Outback Steakhouse in Largo, which averages 3
There you
stars
go.
and is moderately priced.
Now you can also do
Here are
messages.
thread messages, or create a new one.
So these are the people that have messaged me that I haven't messaged back. And then now playing is going to take you to whatever you were listening to. As well as if you hit over here, which is NEX, this will take you back to the main menu. As you can see right here, this is where the Apple icon is at. Now if you're listening to something like a source, you want to go back to Apple CarPlay. So say for example you have the map up. You can have this going. You hit mode. It'll go ahead and take you back to your radio. Hit mode again. It'll switch you back to Apple CarPlay. Now, as we mentioned before, the cool thing this year is that you can just swap between Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. It really doesn't matter. So, USB 2, you have your Android plugged in. Go ahead and plug in your phone. Alright, so now you'll see the Android Auto icon has replaced the Apple CarPlay. Go ahead and click that. It's going to pull up your Android Auto. You have your tiles here that you can scroll up through. And this is going to work very similar to Apple CarPlay. Your push to talk button is in the opposite corner. So here, now it's here. Go ahead and tap that. Is there an Outback Steakhouse near me?
Showing results for is there an Outback Steakhouse near me?
Across the bottom you have your choices. So you have navigation, you have your phone, you have your main menu, you have your music. So tap this line over here. Here's your Pandora radio stations. Tap back again. So go ahead and hit it again, and it's going to list your, switch to Spotify. It's going to list what you have available to you. So here we have Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. So you can play any one of those. Tap over here. It's going to return you back to the Pioneer screen. Yes. If you get a text message, you can reply to your text messages. If you get a phone call, or if you want to make a phone call, you can go ahead and have you do all the fun stuff. It's a hands-free, fully functional system. It's very nice. Okay, so either one of those is really great.
Yeah.
They're both awesome, so it doesn't really matter now what type of phone you have. You get a cool extra added interface just for those phones, which is really nice. So it doesn't matter if you have Apple or Android, you get all the cool features. And they both give you navigation. So now you're saying, wait a minute, if they both give me navigation, this is a navigation radio, why do I need a navigation radio?
Why?
Well, that's for you to decide. But since it has it, let's talk about it. Okay, so what you want to do is hit Maps. Now when you power it up for the first time, it's going to ask you which language you'd like to set it up for. Go ahead and scroll through and pick the language you like and hit Select. Next, it's going to ask you a bunch of fun stuff. Go ahead and hit Accept. And it's going to ask you to set up your preferences. Let's do that. So we'll hit Next. This brings you to the way she talks to you. So for example, or he, if you picked he, because we'll do Dave or Amy. But you have two different types of way for her to talk to you. You have TTS, which is text-to-speech, or any other acronym you'd like to use. Or you just have regular turn left, turn right. So text-to-speech will give you street names, so it'll say something like turn left on Curlew, whereas this will just say turn left. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Have a nice trip. Drive carefully.
Oh, we will. You can set up the type distance. So in the US, we have miles and feet, miles per gallon, weight, temperature. Switch that. You can type in the currency where you are. Go ahead and click Next. And then what do you want it to use as far as routes? So highways, do you not want to use toll roads, ferries? Can you drive in a carpool lane? These are all things you can select, so it'll go ahead and internally set itself up. Go ahead and hit Finish. It's going to bring you to the map. Now, one cool thing about this unit is it does have Nav Traffic, which allows you to get all the current, we'll call road problems, directly into the navigation system. So down here, you click this. It'll go ahead and pull up everything in your general vicinity that could be a problem for you. Now, if you add in a route, it will streamline that down to just any road congestion or accidents or anything like that that are along your route. If you come over here, this is going to give you the ability to do, so here's traffic. So you have 0 events because it doesn't know. Come over here, new route. From this point, it's just like any other navigation system. You can enter an address, you can enter a place, you can enter in a saved location. Yeah. Now, just a little bit of information about. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of information about the navigation system. It has 7.9 million points of interest.
Wow.
That's a ton. Okay. It uses total traffic and weather, which is what I just showed you there. That will give you traffic and weather for where you're at or where you're going, superimposed on the map. Now, it uses another feature called Here Maps for Life.
What's that?
Yeah, good question. What that allows you to do is, in the first 45 days of you powering this unit on, you can go to the Here Maps for Life page, and if there is an update to the navigation system, meaning to the maps, you can download it and install it for free. Okay, so you have 45 days to do any updates that are available to you. That's not to say there is one, but if there is one, what that basically guarantees that if in 6 months from now, if you buy this radio, and there's been an update to the map, you can get the most current version of the map software for free for the first 45 days. After that, you have to pay for it, but hey, at least you'll get the one that's out now. Bonus. Yep. It has an 8 gigabyte flash drive built into it that stores all this information.
Wow.
I know, right? The navigation system will work for all 50 states, Canada, and Puerto Rico.
Yay.
So if you're in the U.S., you know, obviously that's that. If you're in another country, well, yours will do that country's.
Yes, definitely.
All right, okay. All right, so the thing that makes the 8200 the most popular radio out there, or the most sought-after radio, is one feature specifically. What is that?
The capacitive touch and the screen.
That's right. And for those of you that missed that, that was capacitive touch, touchscreen.
Touch.
Touch too much. Anyways, it's a 7-inch WVGA LED backlit
Capacitive touch.
Screen that is 800 pixels by 480. So if you're going to do a custom background, that's how big you'd want to make it. Now, it does have preset backgrounds built into it. Let's take a look at those. hit Mode, hit Gears, come over here, click the Art Palette, click Backgrounds. It has 5 backgrounds to choose from, as well as 3 animated backgrounds. And these grayed out ones here are for you to import your own. Once you pick a background, go ahead and click Apply. Click Illumination. This allows you to change the colors of the buttons on the bottom. Pick Themes. This allows you to change the background color. So you have the purplish color, you have red, you have orange, you have green, you have grayish blue. So we'll do red, like X. Now, along with making it look nice in your dash, we hope one of the reasons why you're buying this unit is to make it sound good in your car. The NEX radios have a full audio pack.
Yeah.
And they're really sexy. It makes things sound great. It has 6-channel 4-volt preamp output. As we said, it had 6-channel earlier. It's a 4-volt preamp output, which is really nice going into an amplifier. It also has 50 watts by 4 for deck power if you're just using it to power up 4 speakers. Let's take a look at the EQ. Alright, so to get to the EQ, there's 2 ways you can do it. If you tap here, this will just take you to the equalizer, where you can see your 5 presets and 2 customs. You can go ahead and pick whichever one you like. You can adjust and update the custom if you want. And then when you're done, you hit the back arrow. When you're done here, just hit X, and it'll go ahead and display which one you have. Now, if you want to get in and actually adjust the EQ, hit Gears, hit Sound Palette. First thing comes up is your EQ. Then you have Balance or Fader. You can adjust those anywhere you want. You have Mute Level. This is for the navigation system, so you can tell how you want it to mute, either attenuate or mute or off. Source Level Adjust. Source Level Adjust is great if you have a phone or an auxiliary output on a device that is lower than the radios and you're having to turn the radio up a lot. You can go into Source Level Adjust. Let's go over here, and we'll go to Bluetooth. We'll come over here and we'll go back. We'll go to Source Level Adjust. So now it gives you the ability to turn up that that input so it is louder and more in line with the rest of the sources on the radio. Then you have rear speaker on and off. The reason why it gives you rear speaker on and off is because of that dual zone capability. So if the little kiddies are in the back watching a movie, you may want to turn those rear speakers off because they have their headphones on and you just don't need it. You can also turn on and off the subwoofer for that same reason. You now have speaker level control. That's 5 different volume controls for each one. You can turn up and down the subwoofer or any speaker independently. And the reason why it has that, let's turn the sun back on, is because of the next thing, which is listening position. Listening position allows you to go in and tell it where you're sitting in the car. Along with listening position, you have time alignment, which is what listening position really is. You can go in and tell it where you're sitting. So for example, it's going to give you a generic setting. You can go in and adjust it by simply measuring from your ear to the speaker and then putting that number in. Now once you've done that and you go back to speaker level, you'll notice that these are different as well. They've taken in consideration that distance and attenuated the speaker. You don't have to leave them there. You can go in and actually adjust these to move the center image across your dash so it gives you a more theater-like experience. Now you have crossover. Now this gives you a front, rear, and sub crossover that you can independently turn on and off. So if you don't need your sub crossover, you can turn it off. But if you need your high pass crossover, you can turn it on. And you can adjust it simply by moving back and forth. And you can also adjust the dB per octave. So you have a couple to choose from, 6, 12, or 18. You can also leave the rear off or have them independently. So you can move them around, have fun with that. Then all the way down here on the bottom, it has these 2 grayed out features, which is auto EQ or measured EQ. That has to do with the ability for this to set that all up on its own. Pioneer makes a optional remote control that if you open the screen up here, you'll notice that there is a 1/8" headphone jack. That's where it would plug in, and it give you the ability to do all this all on its own. It'll auto measure and phase and do all that fun stuff pretty much hands-free. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up for this one. There's a lot of stuff there that this guy packs into a small box. If we went too fast over something and you were like, man, I really wish I would have spent some more time on it, have no fear, we probably did. If you go to the 2016 NEX playlist on the channel you're watching, chances are good there's a video there that will be more in depth on the features that we talked about. We just wanted to try to cover everything in this one little video. Little. So if you're still watching, thanks. If you like our video, please subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave them down below and we will get back to you. Otherwise,
thank you for watching. You guys can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
And as always, you guys have a great night. We'll see you later next time. Bye.